forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Hi, Syria. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
So wonderful. So we are coming to the close of the year, and let's see what questions we have today, Syria.
Of course, the first question is I've got some strong achievements, the kind that really helped shape my career, but they happened maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I'm still in the same field, still doing good work, but I don't have anything super recent that feels as big. Could that still help me for my EB1A case?
Okay. One of the biggest challenges with responding to this question, Syria, is that we don't know what achievements are in what field. Second, if it has helped to shape your career, we really don't know whether this would be useful for EB1A, because EB1A is awarded for not for just field change, kind of shaping your career, what you have done, but for something which has kind of contributed to the field as such, actually. And you would be an asset. You don't get EB1A because you have done something for you that helped you shape your career. You get EB1A because you are an expert of an international caliber that is useful to the US, and you will continue in the field of expertise. It looks like to me that it is not about you here in EB1A, it's about your contribution and the impact that you have done. If because of your good work that you have done, it may be years ago, but if it has a very powerful impact, that could have, when looked from the lens of the criteria, we see that it might be very unique and field-changing dynamics, actually, then this is very useful. It's not about big or small. It is not about public applause. It's about the impact and how many people would have been impacted by virtue of your good work that you have done. We need to have more data to kind of give a very conclusive answer. But yes, one thing I can say that many people who join the program, they don't realize the importance of the work that they would have done. So don't qualify yourself, any work, as big or small by virtue of your personal impact or what the work had impact on you personally or in your career. We have to look at from a different lens altogether. So I would just keep this response on hold till we get a more detail. So please reach out to, or you may come back later on which more depth actually. So that would be useful. So let's take the next question.
Of course. Next, I've judged a couple of startup pitch competitions and review applications for a mentorship program, but wasn't anything super high profile like government or international panel. Is that kind of judging still worth including in an EB1A petition?
Again, we don't know your field of expertise and how many judges are there, but on what basis you were called. Startup pitch competitions, whether what was your locus and your expertise based on which that you were called there, how it is related to the field. So if you have judged several of startup pitch competitions, and if you have selected or evaluated, was your evaluation meritorious? Were they received funding? Imagine a situation where you would have, I'm just making this story up actually, you would have evaluated Airbnb a couple of decades ago. You would have evaluated Uber a couple of years ago. And today it has become a large. So this would speak a lot about your assessment and your, kind of prowess. Now that would make a lot of difference. But or if not, then this could be serve as a stepping stone. So we would just have to see which more detail in terms of, and one of the things that we have seen which people are not giving us in these questions, Syria, is that people are not giving us their expertise and their field of endeavor, because we need that to kind of do a more deep dive. Now, let us say, hypothetically again, that if somebody says that I'm a rocket scientist and I have judged a startup's base for the rocket science, definitely the whole storytelling would be very different. The whole narrative, what we are looking at this question, our perspective of looking at the question would be very different, depending on the profundity of that expertise and what US needs at this moment. So one needs to be more granular here. Okay, so let's move to the next one.
Absolutely. So the next question is, how do we prove a critical role? Do we need letters from the current employer and the previous employer? Are those needed on an official letterhead? How about if the manager or the person providing the letter already changed jobs?
I think it's a pretty straightforward question and a very simple, neat. It's a very direct question, and we can give a very direct response to this. You prove your critical role by establishing the criticality of that particular role. You need to give your, kind of authority, the scope of your authority, the impact metrics that you succeeded in doing that. If you weren't there, the project would not have been, or the role would not have been critical. And also another important aspect that you need to prove the distinguished nature of the organization also. Normally my suggestion to all the people in the program is that if you have been for a very long duration, say 5 to 6 years in the same company, then you are absolutely good to kind of give only one establishment and maybe 2 or 3 specific projects you can mention. If over a period of 5 to 6 years there have been more than one, then you can give both the kind of include both the establishments as distinguished and criticality of your role. Now, yes, we would need the letters in that case. The law doesn't warrant that you need to give on an official letterhead. If the manager or the person providing the letter has already changed jobs, then he can say that, well, let us say he's giving a letter to you, Syria. Then the person should say that, yes, I had supervised Syria during my tenure at so-and-so. And at that time, I was manager, I was vice president, I was chief manager at so-and-so. And Syria worked with me. You can give a letter even though the person would have already changed their respective jobs. I think this should answer the question. So if you need more clarification, please reach out to us. And if you want to join the program, like many other people, we have a certain framework for the letters and all. We'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, let's move to the next now.
Yes, the next question is, could you please share some insights on identifying the high salary categories? We are using the Bureau of Labor Statistics website for salary comparisons. For those on H-1B visa, do you need to use the exact standard occupational classification code listed on the labor condition application? Or can you select a relevant SOC code based on your current job duties? My SOC code is in the H-1B. LCA is software developers, but my job duties are aligned more with those of a computer system analyst.
Okay, now this is a very sensitive question. In fact, for EB1A, you don't really need a job offer. And now this becomes relevant if you are going for a high salary criteria. And if you have a high salary and if you want to utilize this, I think my suggestion to you would be, it is neither related to your job or nor related to your LCA. That is your EB2 application or your H1B application in that case. This is more related to your expertise. So relate your job to your expertise, and you can mention there in that letter that, well, SOC is more administrative, even though it is in LCA, but it does not kind of give the profundity of your total expertise, what we are applying for your EB1A. This is very, very important here, actually, giving that kind of an explanation. Otherwise, in fact, for your EB1, there are certain cases, but we have seen that since you don't require it, we have given 0000 code also, actually, in some cases, and that has worked it. But if your attorney is insisting on a particular code, then I think this would be the best way forward to connect it to your expertise more than your LCA or your H1B visa or something like this, because EB1A doesn't warrant your EB1A, anything like this. So I would say this is the best way for moving forward. Okay, so let's take the next question.
Absolutely. The next question is, would you mind sharing your insights on effectively demonstrating a critical role for achieving sustained national and international acclaim, particularly in the context of applying for EB1A?
I think it's a very, very deep question, Syria. Would you mind sharing your insight on effectively demonstrating a critical role for achieving sustained national? Okay, now, what is sustained? Sustained is not necessarily temporal. Now, it also depends on how much time have you spent, how much intellectual prowess have you spent in building that expertise that creates certain impact. Now, the sustained acclaim in totality is the function of three things. The first is your time, second is your experience, third is the impact that you have created. So, the knowledge that you have created, the experience that you have, and third dimension would be the impact that you have created. Now, and also it's a matter of time is just one of the functions. Now, let's say, for example, if somebody during COVID time would have created a COVID vaccine. Okay, now even that is important. That would be a sustained acclaim because you require a certain knowledge needs to get acquired first to do something. Okay, it is not you get a very important award, but the work that you have done it is because of the history of your work then that you have done has resulted in that award. I mean, just on a lighter vein, if somebody were to get a Nobel Prize today and apply for EB1A tomorrow, it's not only time because the effort that it takes to apply for that is also equally important. So critical role is an important aspect when you talk about what is the impact that you have created. Can that impact survive you itself? If you can see that, then it is a very good thing actually. And you could have done something that will survive for the next 20 years. For example, there could be potentially a patent that you have created that would also go as an original contribution as well as a critical role. And that I'm talking about a patent that is in application. That is not, I mean, in application, I mean that is already there is a kind of an impact that can be seen, visualized, not something just on a paper. And it is not about a prospective benefit. It's about an actual benefit that can be there. Okay? So that is something which is very, very important. So let's move to the next question.
The next question is quite similar to the last one. It says, while submitting an RFE, how can we prove sustained international acclaim? I have no awards, no membership. We have not submitted any expert opinion letters. Shall I submit expert opinion letters, which is not part of the initial submission and not part of the RFE?
I get it. Now, if it is an RFE, I assume that your criteria have not been kind of cleared. It is not a NOID. Now, strategy for applying for sustained acclaim in a NOID would be very different than applying for sustained acclaim in an RFE. Because in an RFE, we are talking about a specific criteria, and in NOID, it would be as a matter of fact, more from a totality perspective actually here. Now, I would say only one thing, or rather three things actually. As I said previously, when you want to demonstrate a sustained, it's not sustained international acclaim. I would rather limit it to sustained acclaim. In an awards, or if you don't have that, absolutely fine. But what is the impact of that work that you have created? Sustained is not a function of applause. Award would be more like an applause actually. Somebody appreciating your work, but it is okay. Now, some people who made a COVID vaccine, would they have got an award on the same year? No. But you need to present your narrative or a storytelling would have to kind of demonstrate the knowledge that has taken for you to create or earn that knowledge to create that impact. I would rather leave it to that extent actually. So we need to earn it also as a function of expertise, the rarity of your skill sets. And somebody in the critical role also asked this question actually. How can we demonstrate sustained acclaim in a matter of critical role? So rarity of your skill set, scope of your authority, that is important. And how much time it takes to build up that expertise, and how US would be kind of missing that expertise if you were not there. That is very, very important here. Definitely you need an independent expert opinion letters for this particular case. Even if which were not part of initial submission, you need to respond to your RFE based on that. So that becomes a kind of more of an ancillary secondary evidence to proving your expertise. Yes, that is very, very important here. But I think that's a very good question in terms of demonstrating your sustained acclaim. I would remove the word international. Sustained acclaim by virtue of in case of an RFE and in case of NOID. Those are two completely independent cases. And so let's take quickly next two questions actually. Yeah.
Okay, of course. So the next question is, I've been promoted multiple times and hold a leadership role now, but I don't have a fancy title like VP or director. I do lead projects and mentor others though. Does that count as playing a critical role in the organization?
Absolutely. We have seen people who are just software developers or something. It is, you don't need a, I mean, this a whole criteria speaks about a critical role or a leading role. So this is definitely, the criticality is established by the impact, and the impact is proved by your scope of authority, by virtue of your rare skill set and scarcity of your expertise also actually. If you are able to demonstrate and what has been the impact of your work, how you define the success metrics of that, if you are able to articulate that, that would be wonderful actually. And let's take the last question, Syria.
Okay, so the last question is, I'm an entrepreneur in the renewable energy sector developing initiative solar panels technologies. Could you suggest effective strategies for gaining international recognition and awards in this field?
Now, how would you define a success in your field of expertise now? That is going to be the one of the most important aspect here. I mean, I think you're talking about a solar, kind of you are an entrepreneur. It means that you have a startup. So have somebody invested in this, or did you receive some grants? Now, did you have you got some patents actually to create some kind of a legal defensibility actually? I mean, there are a lot of technology benchmarking that is required actually. There are a lot of awards for tech and sustainability that, in UAE there is something called as Zaid Sustainability Prize, or in European Union there is a prize on Solar Power Europe Awards. Then there is another award on Kneeling Curve Prize, Ashton Awards, Global Clean Tech 100 Awards. We have World Smart Energy Awards in Lit Europe. Now you need to work to make that as your mission to reach that. You need to publish in a tier 1 engineering journals like Nature Energy, Joule Progress, use data-rich studies. You have to speak at flagship conference like IEEE, PBSC. There are a lot of accelerators by the government. There are showcase your talent in UN allied global initiatives, brand architecture. There are 101 things that you can do in your field of expertise, and leverage your media partnerships. MIT Technology Review. I mean, it has, I think, something on like under 35. What are fast company changing ideas? So these are some of the things that you need to do actually. In an execution, you have to do it within a span of 1 or 2 years. You can create something that would be kind of follow, but it has to be part of a plan of an overall scheme of things. If you are able to do this, then that would be wonderful. So that was, I think, the best we have for today right now. And guys, if you want to have your questions and you want us to kind of help you for EB1A and you want to join the program, reach out to Syria or me. The link will be given in the, in the comment below. So wish you a very happy new year and have a wonderful day ahead and have a wonderful Saturday, friends. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.